Professionals. Welcome to an episode of Cosmically Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Jacayla, and if you're new here, this is where we're going to break down what the planets are actually doing without all the fluff. Just real talk about how these cosmic shifts are asking you to grow and step into your power. So today we will be diving into September 2025, and this is a packed month of transits. We've got 9 major planetary movements happening that are going to shake up things when it comes to money, relationships, and honestly, just kind of how you show up into the world. And if you're sitting there feeling like, I don't really understand astrology, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to walk you through everything so that by the end of this, you'll know exactly what's coming and how to work with it instead of against it. So grab your coffee, your Addy, your tea, hopefully your water if you're taking an Addy or drinking coffee. And let's get comfortable and talk about what September has in store for us. So, some Astro 101, let's be on the same page. Before we dive into all the September action, I want to give some basics so we're all speaking the same language here. So, a transit is basically when planets move from one zodiac sign to another, or when planets form certain relationships with each other. Think of it kind of like a weather forecast before your life. These planetary movements create energetic shifts that affects us all in different ways. So we've got fast moving planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars. These planets change signs every few weeks and they influence our daily experiences. Then we have our slower planets that are like Saturn and Pluto. These planets take years to move and they create those big life changes that we all go through. The moon is one of the fastest planets because it changes signs every couple of days, which is sometimes why you might feel different on a Tuesday than you do on a Monday. And those new and full moon everyone talks about, those are like cosmic reset buttons that happen roughly every 2 weeks. And each planet has its own personality, if you will. Mercury, it kind of handles how we think and communicate. Venus is all about love and money. Mars is our drive and passion. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. And Saturn is what helps us get our act together. And the outer planets like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they deal with the really deep transformation stuff. The signs are like different flavors that each planet expresses through. So Venus and Scorpio feels different from Venus and Sagittarius, even though it's the same planet. So now that we got that foundation, I want to dive into what September is bringing to us. So September 1st, we're going to have Uranus is going to go retrograde in Taurus. We're going to be starting this month off with Uranus. Uranus is our planet of change and awakening. It's going to start its retrograde journey in Taurus. Now, if you don't know Uranus, this is basically like our rebel of the solar system. Aquarius is where it is at home. That's the sign that it rules. It's the planet that shows up and says, everything you thought you knew, yeah, we're changing that. But here's the thing about retrogrades. Everyone freaks out about them. But they're actually just times when we're asked to slow down and look inside instead of pushing forward. So, when we see Uranus retrograde in Taurus, it's like getting a chance to revolutionize your relationship with security and stability from the inside out. So, see, Taurus is a sign that's all about comfort, money, values, and the things that makes us feel safe and secure. It's the sign that likes routine, beautiful things, and knowing where the next meal is coming from. So, when the change maker planet goes backwards in the security sign, it's asking you some pretty deep questions that look like, what if the things you thought made you secure are actually keeping you stuck? What if real security comes from trusting yourself rather than trying to control everything around you? And what if your relationship with money needs a complete overhaul? You might find yourself questioning whether your current job actually serves you, or feeling restless about possessions that used to bring you comfort. Maybe you're getting insights about money patterns that have been running your life without you even realizing. These are all things that are part of the process. And the key here is to sit with those questions instead of immediately trying to change everything externally. This retrograde is about internal revolution first. The external changes, they come a lot later. So then the very next day on September 2nd, we're going to have Pluto go direct in Capricorn. And Pluto's going to basically be stationed direct in Capricorn. So if we see Uranus as the rebel, Pluto is seen as a transformer planet for Scorpio. This is the planet that destroys what's not working so something better can be born. It's a planet that doesn't mess around. And see, Pluto's been retrograde since May, which means we've been doing a lot of the eternal work around power, control, and authority. Now we're going to see it going direct in Capricorn, which is a sign of structure, business, and getting things done in the real world. This is like saying, okay, you've been processing how you relate to power and authorities for months. Now it's time to actually implement what you've learned. If you've been feeling like you need to step up as a leader in some area of your life, this transit is giving you the green light to do that. Because see, Capricorn energy is about building something that lasts, creating systems that work, and taking responsibility for your own successes. When we see Pluto going direct here, you might find yourself ready to completely restructure how you approach to your career or your long-term goals. This isn't going to be about ego-driven power trips. It's about using your influence and authority in service of something more meaningful. What do you want to build that's going to outlast you? How can you use whatever power you have to create some positive change? You might feel this as suddenly being ready to set boundaries with people who've been taking advantage of you, or finally stepping into a leadership role that you've been avoiding. Either way, it's time to own your power instead of keeping giving it away. And so on the same day, we're going to have Venus also enter Scorpio, big planetary transit. Um, this is where things are going to get interesting because Venus and Scorpio doesn't do anything halfway. Venus, it loves money and love. But when it's in Scorpio, it can make things get really intense, passionate, and transformative. This isn't surface level attraction or casual spending. This is about merging depth and getting to the truth of what it is that you really value. In relationships, Venus and Scorpio kind of says, let's go deep or let's go home. Casual connections either evolve into something more meaningful or they just fade away. You're not going to be interested in small talk anymore. You want to know what makes people tick, what their fears are, and what transforms them. With money, this transit can bring up all of your hidden beliefs about worth and resources. How do you feel about yourself, and how do you feel about the things that you have at your disposal to do what you need to do with? You might find yourself investigating your spending habits or getting really clear about what you're willing to invest in and what you're not. The magnetic attraction of energy is going to be strong right now too. You're drawn to people and experiences that have the potential to transform you. But remember, with Scorpio energy, it's all or nothing. Half-hearted anything just doesn't cut it. This is a great time to have those deep conversations about money in your relationships, or to really look at how your self-worth affects what you attract. I just think you should be prepared for intensity. Scorpio doesn't do anything lightly. So now we're going to get to our first major lunar event of the month, September 8th, full moon in Pisces. 6 days after having Venus enter Scorpio, we're going to have a full moon. Full moons are typically about release and letting go. But of Pisces full moon is like a cosmic emotional cleanse. Pisces is the most intuitive and emotionally sensitive sign in the zodiac. It's ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, spirituality, and dissolution. So when we have a full moon here, it's like all of the emotions you've been holding on to just need to flow. This might be overwhelming if you're not used to processing emotions, but it's actually incredibly healing. Pisces energy teaches us that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just feel what you're feeling without trying to fix or understand it. Your intuition is going to be off the charts during this full moon. Pay attention to your dreams, those random thoughts that pop into your head, and especially your gut feelings about people and situations. Pisces doesn't lie. This is also a powerful time for creative expression. If you've been holding back on sharing your art, writing, music, whatever it is that's like creative, this full moon is encouraging you to let it flow. Don't worry about whether it's perfect. Just let it be real. There is a shadow side of Pisces, and we see that when how escapist they are. So if you find yourself wanting to avoid reality through substances, shopping, or just checking out mentally, try to redirect that energy into something creative or healing instead. Think about taking a bath, going by a walk, going for a walk by water if you can, or just give yourself permission to have a good cry if that's what wants to happen. So midway through the month, September 14th, we're gonna have Mars enter Leo. And this is where the energy is going to completely shift. If the first part of September was about deep emotional processing and internal revolution, now we're moving into creative action and bold self-expression. Mars is your inner warrior, your drive, your passion. It's how you go after what you want and how you assert yourself in the world. So when we see Mars in Leo, that drive can start to become confident, creative, and heart-centered because Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is all about creativity, self-expression, confidence, and yes, a little bit of drama. It's the sign that says, look at me, and actually deserves the attention because it brings joy and inspiration wherever it goes. So when your warrior planet moves into the performer sign, you're being asked to take bold action on the things that light you up. This is about following your passion, not just your practical goals. What makes your heart sing? What creative project have you been putting off? What would you do if you knew everyone would love it? You might find yourself suddenly more confident in social situations, ready to take center stage in some area of your life, or just generally feeling more magnetic and attractive. Mars in Leo gives you permission to be a little extra, to put yourself out there, and to show off your talents. This is also great energy for leadership, but it's heart-led leadership rather than ego-driven control. You inspire others by being authentically yourself and following your passion. People want to follow someone who's genuinely excited about what they're doing. The only thing to watch out for is letting your ego get too inflated. See, Leo energy can sometimes become all about the applause rather than the authentic expression. Keep it real, keep it from the heart, and you'll make the most out of this transit. As we move toward the end of the month, we get a new moon in Libra, September 22nd, which is perfect timing for setting intentions around balance and relationships. So, see, new moons are always about new beginnings and planting seeds for what you want to grow. When it happens in Libra, the sign of balance, partnerships, and harmony is asking you what you want to create in terms of relationships and balance in your life. The Libra is ruled by Venus, so there's this emphasis on beauty, cooperation, and finding win-win solutions, right? This is a great time to set intentions around attracting a romantic partner, improving existing relationships, or even just creating more harmony in your daily life. Maybe you want to call in a business partnership that actually supports your growth. Maybe you want to find better work-life balance. Maybe you're ready to attract friends who really get you and support your dreams. Libra energy is also about justice and fairness. So this new moon might inspire you to stand up for what's right in some areas of your life. Where have you been tolerating imbalance? Where do you need to speak up for yourself or others? The shadow side of Libra is people pleasing and avoiding conflict. So, as you're setting these intentions, make sure they're based on what you actually want, not just what you think will keep everyone else happy. True harmony comes from everyone being authentic, not from everyone just going along to get along. This is a beautiful time also to beautify your environment. Libra is a sign that loves aesthetics. So consider what you want to change about your living space, wardrobe, or just how you present yourself to the world. So on September 23rd, the sun's going to enter Libra the day after the new moon. And this is going to start Libra season. This is a month-long period where the collective energy focuses on relationships, balance, and creating harmony. The sun, it represents your core identity and life purposes. So when it's in Libra, we're all being asked to consider how we show up in relationships and whether we're creating balance in our lives. This is a social season. You'll probably find yourself wanting to connect with others more, whether that's dating, strengthening friendships, or collaborating on projects. Libra season is a great season for partnerships of all kinds. It's also a time when aesthetics and beauty become more important. You might find yourself wanting to redecorate, update your wardrobe, or just surround yourself with more beautiful things. This isn't superficial. Beauty actually feeds the soul, and Libra is a sign that understands that. And the diplomatic energy of Libra is perfect for resolving conflicts that have been brewing. Instead of confrontation, this is a season that encourages conversation, compromise, and finding solutions that work for everyone involved. Just watch out for the tendency to avoid making decisions or to sacrifice your own needs for the sake of keeping the peace. True Libra energy is all about the balance, which means your needs matters just as much as everyone else's. Now, near the end of the month, September 27th, we're going to see Mercury enter Scorpio. And suddenly, all of our conversations could start to get a lot more intense and meaningful. See, Mercury is the planet that rules communication, thinking, and how we process information. When we see it in Scorpio, small talk basically becomes impossible. You want to get to the truth of things, to understand what is really going on beneath the surface, like what's really up. This is incredible energy for research, investigation, and kind of any type of detective work. You might find yourself digging deep into topics that fascinate you, or having conversations that reveal hidden truths about people and situations in your life. Scorpio energy is also psychic and intuitive, so your communication can become more telepathic. You'll know what people are really thinking and feeling, even if they're not saying it out loud. And by the way, when I say psychic and intuitive and telepathic, I think sometimes those words can make people immediately shut down. But the middle word I said is the key and core word for describing this energy, intuitive. To me, psychic and those type of words, they really mean your intuition, your gut, reading body language, reading situations, sitting back and truly thinking deep, and like not just analyzing what people are saying, but also what people are doing and what people have done and what people communicate that they plan on doing. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time is a part of that quote that is often, I feel like, forgotten. But that first time, and that first time is like that initial impression that can give you so much information that a lot of times people like to, once they get to know people more, they ignore those initial gut feelings. But those initial gut feelings could say something. Sometimes they could say something about that other person, and sometimes they could say a lot about you. Which one is it saying about? It's up for you to figure out. But you'll know what people are really thinking and feeling, even if they're not saying it out loud. Trust those gut feelings about what's being communicated beyond the words. This is a powerful time for therapy, counseling, or any kind of deep emotional work. Mercury in Scorpio helps you articulate feelings and experiences that are usually hard to just put into words. So just be prepared for conversations to get heavy. People are going to want to talk about the deep stuff, transformation, power, secrets, death, rebirth. It's not the time for keeping things light and breezy. The gift of this transit is that you can communicate about these things that usually feel too intense or taboo. Those conversations that you've been avoiding, now is the time to have them because you'll have the words and the courage to speak your truth. So now we close out September with Venus leaving Scorpio's intense depths and entering Sagittarius's expansive horizons on the 29th. After nearly a month of deep transformational love and values work, we're ready for some adventure and optimism. Venus in Sagittarius is about love as an adventure. Relationships become about growth, exploration, and expanding each other's worlds. You're attracted to people who teach you something, who open your mind, who inspire you to become more of what you were before. This is amazing energy for attracting international connections, whether that's people from other cultures or just people who have a very different perspective from yours. There's something magnetic about differences now instead of similarities. Freedom becomes really important in relationships during this transit. You need to feel like you can be yourself, explore your interests, and grow without feeling confined or controlled. And you want the same for your partner. So when we have Venus in Sagittarius, when it comes to money and values, you can become more interested in experiences than things. You'd rather spend money on travel, education, or adventures rather than just on material possessions. What you value becomes tied to meaning and wisdom rather than just comfort or status. And I think you can easily see how the trail from having the planetary movements and Scorpio for Venus goes into Sagittarius and how that depth that you built when it was in Scorpio can now sort of convert into this energy of more depth for what you are doing instead of what you are getting out of situations. This is also a great time for teaching, learning, sharing knowledge. You might find yourself in the teacher role more often and speaking, seeking out mentors and guides who can help you expand your understanding of the world. The only thing to watch out for, I would believe, would be the tendency to be a little too blunt or tactless in relationships. Sagittarius energy is truly honest to a fault, which can sometimes hurt people's feelings, even when that's not the intention. Speak your truth. But remember, it doesn't hurt to wrap it in kindness. So now that we've walked through each individual transit, let's talk about the bigger picture of what September really is about. This month is fundamentally about leveling up. It's about internal revolution that leads to external transformation, about getting real about what you actually value versus what you think you should value, about stepping into your power and using it wisely. So that first part of the month with Uranus retrograde and Pluto direct, it sets the stage for this internal work around security and power. Then when we have Venus and Scorpio, it takes us deep into what we really want in love and money. And that Pisces full moon helps us release whatever has been holding us back when it comes to emotions. Mars and Leo gives us the confidence and creative fire to take action on what we've discovered about ourselves. Then we have the Libra new moon and Libra going into the sun helps us set intentions around balance and relationships. Mercury and Scorpio gives us the courage to have the deep conversations that need to happen. And Venus and Sagittarius opens us up to new adventures in love and values. The overall theme is integration. You're integrating your inner rebel with your need for security. You're integrating your power with your compassion. You're integrating your depth with your lightness. You're integrating your independence with your desire for connection. This isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about finding a way to honor all parts of yourself and create a life that feels authentic, powerful, and aligned with what actually matters to you. So, what does that all mean for your actual daily life? How do you work with these energies instead of getting overwhelmed by them? I have some practical suggestions for navigating September astrologically wise. First week of September, with all that Uranus and Pluto energy, spend some time journaling, writing down, even use a post-it note, child, who cares? About your relationship with security and power. What makes you feel safe? Where are you giving your power away? What would authentic security look like for you? Then we have the second week with the Pisces full moon. Create some space for emotional release. This might be through crying, creating art, spending time in nature, or just letting yourself feel whatever is coming up without trying to fix it. Trust your intuition during this time. And during this actual time, I will be doing a lot of this that I'm mentioning here. And I will, on most likely my TikTok page, keep it updated for me answering those questions as well. So around the first week of September, I will be inquiring with myself what makes me feel safe. I'll be journaling with myself about my relationship with security and power and analyze where am I giving my power away and what would authentic security look like for me. And same for the rest of the weeks. So I will be holding myself to that and keeping up with that. Um, so then for the third week with Mars and Leo energy building, take one bold action towards something that lights you up. This doesn't have to be huge. It could be as simple as sharing a piece of your art, speaking up in a meeting, or just wearing something that makes you feel confident and radiant. Fourth week with all the Libra energy, Mercury and Scorpio, focus on relationships and deep communication. Set intentions about what you want to create in your partnerships. Have those important conversations you've been avoiding. Practice saying what you mean with love and clarity. Throughout the month, pay attention to what's shifting your values. What used to matter to you that doesn't anymore? What's becoming more important? Let yourself evolve without judgment. Remember, these transits are happening for you, not to you. Every planetary movement is an invitation to grow, heal, and step more fully into who you're meant to be.